You are listening to Single Smart Female. This is Jen, explaining the possibilities in your love life and examining your mantourage dating experiences. I am here to help you do life and love on your terms by tipping the scales of love permanently in your favor. So don't forget to text this episode to all of your single smart girlfriends, and let's get started. Hello, single smart female. It's your romantic fairy godmama. And today I have a single smart female listener question. Now this listener question comes all the way from the lovely country of Canada. And it's Miss Pigeonholed. She writes, "Hello, romantic fairy godmother. I've always struggled with romantic relationships, but my question is about how to deal with friends' opinions after you have a reputation of said struggles. I realize I have some issues and I have expressed and articulated this, of course, to my friends. However, I never feel really understood, only judged. It seems as though they feel they know better than me about my situations without knowing much information. One thing in specific I have noticed is when men are really fucking attractive. If a man is not super attractive and he does something that makes me question his interest and mine, my gals are like, give him a chance, yada yada. However, when the guy is hot, described only by me, they do not say this. Literally, I presently have one guy who really doesn't initiate, seems to need me, but isn't a 10 out of 10, and my friends tell me to be patient with him. Not that I'm even asking for advice from them. I'm just catching them up as the day goes on. However, the man whom I'm very attracted to and I have had a great 3 dates with, but in the beginning he had ghosted me until I reached out again, they tell me to be careful and not to put all my eggs in one basket, when I'm clearly not. And they are making assumptions that he is automatically deceptive and not to be trusted. Meanwhile, I'm going on dates with more than one guy. It can be so exhausting dealing with people's judgments that aren't even really grounded on anything that is present. And then it can get in my head and cause me to think, I can't get what I want. He's not just good looking, he has great qualities. I realize they may have been concerned as my past had a lot of deceptive men in it. However, I have worked on myself and I feel I've been attracting great men. Men who have worked on themselves as well are insightful and taking the lead and with whom I'm having fun. How do I deal with this? It is starting to affect my self-esteem as they seem to only be worried when the guy is attractive, as I guess they don't see me as enough and it won't lead into anything. I'm not coming in with expectations either, just enjoying it, but dang, it sure doesn't feel good when you can't be met where you are at from your friends. They don't seem to understand. Okay. Miss Pigeonholed, I've got lots of good stuff here from you. First off, this is a very interesting question. I want to thank you for sending it in. So I'm going to start with the fact that something that you're going to learn in life that we don't put a lot of emphasis on or we kind of dismiss, especially in certain circles. But perception is potential power. So the way you perceive anything in life is your powerhouse. This is something I definitely in Secret Society help women with, because the way you look at things and the way that you approach things is going to dictate a lot of outcomes for you. So I'm going to start there and tell you that your perception of the situation or situations is your potential power and powerhouse. Okay. Now, listening to your friends. So yes, absolutely 100%. Part of this, they're basing things off of your history. And it is challenging when you've had a certain history and then all of a sudden you've made a change. And it's hard for them to not throw up that protective mechanism because they never did and they don't like seeing you hurt. But on the same page, they're not used to not seeing you hurt at the same time. So sometimes it does take a bit for people to adjust. Now, what I heard from you, now you only gave me one description of these type of men, but what I heard your friend saying with these 2 particular men is that there definitely could be assumption on their part that any guys that are hot are players and they are trying to protect you. Okay? Could it be what you're saying, that they don't think that you're good enough? I'm going to say highly unlikely. I mean, it is a possibility, but I'm going to say highly unlikely. And regardless, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you to think that way. All it does is eat at your self-esteem, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I do think, based on what you said, that there's a real high probability that you're misinterpreting what your friends are trying to say. And they are being protective. They're not telling you that you can't have a hot guy. Okay? I don't know if historically the guys that were really deceptive with you, if there's a pattern already established here, were really hot to you, and that's what's happened. And so they're following that pattern and giving advice based on that pattern. Now, here's the thing. Something we don't do is you said, sometimes you're just telling a story to catch people up and everything, and then they give you advice. Well, when that's a pattern that you've had with people historically, because maybe you've gone to them for advice before, and now you're not needing advice anymore, if you're going to tell a story and illustrate something, you need to let them know, say, hey, I want to share something with you, but I just want you to know I'm not looking for any advice. Okay? And you have to be brave enough to say that. Now, are some people going to be turned off by that? Yes, absolutely, 100%. But even my husband and I have that. And it's a great thing to have in a relationship. Sometimes we just want to be heard. Okay? Or sometimes we would just want to share something. And you can say, I know historically when I've had a lot of troubles romantically, that I have asked for advice, but I just want you to know I'm not actually asking for advice here. I just want to share something with you. Okay? And so you can start there. And that, again, that's part of your power too. Being able to, in a nice, kind, succinct way, you don't need to over explain it or anything, is just say what you need and go from there. I had a friend that, my love life used to be such a hot mess, and she was the one that I would go to and tell about. She was always what I considered at the time the authority on men and stuff, and she wasn't really a great example or authority, but I went to her because I thought she had a lot of success with men, but she didn't. And I didn't recognize that because I just thought, hey, men really like her, but she had a very dysfunctional approach to things. So as I started getting really good with men and not needing her advice, our relationship did change. Okay. And it actually ended up dissolving. And that's something we have to accept too. As we grow as people, sometimes relationships are going to dissolve. People are either going to grow with us or they kind of fall away. And sometimes we do have to break it off. Now, I'm not saying, all right, that every relationship is that way. Okay. It's something that you're going to see over time by saying, hey, like I said, introducing a story just to let you know, I'm not really looking for advice on this, but I wanted to share something with you and see how things go and see if the relationship continues. Okay. And you can say, if they bring up the advice anyways, you can say, I understand why you might think that, but like I said, I wasn't wanting to get advice or whatever. And I want to see what actually comes out of this because I'm experimenting and trying out some new stuff to see how it works out and how it plays out. Now, I do want to commend you for man-tourage dating. And I want to make sure that you're full on man-tourage dating. You were talking about the one guy ghosting you at the beginning. See, the thing is that if you're truly man-tourage dating, that doesn't really matter because guys kind of will cycle in and cycle out. And there's a lot of different things that I work with women. So it doesn't matter because you're having so much fun that you'll see over time who the real contenders are. And they'll keep showing up on a regular basis. And that's what you're looking for. But, so far, I want to commend you for doing that. I want to go back to the perception piece of this because we do this with men too. It's not that. But if you're going to get stuck with how you think you are being perceived by other people, you are the only one who can let your self-esteem be affected. You mentioned that. You are the only one. Now, there's different ways you can handle it. You can move out of the relationship. You can develop new relationships, things like that. But ultimately, it is your choice whether or not your self-esteem is affected. I personally don't think that they are trying to say that they don't believe that you can pull a hot guy. I don't think that at all. But you're the only one that can choose to believe that or not. And I just suggest you don't, regardless if you stay in a relationship or friendship with them or not. Okay, because it doesn't do anything for you to think this way. And plus, it's probably not accurate on top of it. So that's something that we have to understand as women. Yes, we choose the relationships we're in. We can choose the dosage of the relationships that we are in too, meaning, how much time you spend with somebody. And we also choose what we think about ourselves in reference to the other people. So yes, pick people that seem very supportive around you, but don't automatically assume that all people are trying to tear you down, because what you're going to realize is a lot of people just don't do lots of certain communications very well, and they base things off of historic patterns, and a lot of times we read people wrong. And I don't want you to stay in a place, because there's nothing worse than staying in the mentality of constant victimhood. Of, they did this to me, or, we've all had history. We've all got past. And lots of people have had very traumatic situations, things like that. But that doesn't make you a perpetual victim. And I don't want you to mentally stay there, because it does nothing for your life or your love life. Okay, lover girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show. As an adored woman, the only person who can make you feel a certain way about yourself is you. Hey, lover girl, don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, as well as share this episode with all of your single smart girlfriends. And if you are ready to walk permanently in the adored woman world and create the love life that you really want instead of the shit that they say that you have to settle for, then listen up. Women who get what they want search out the resources they need in order to make it happen. This is why you found me, and now it's time to make some badass, magical decisions in your dating and love life. No more half-assed decisions based on false information. No more half-assed dating and constant worry about whether or not you'll hear from him again. No more sustaining yourself on scraps of romantic attention or no attention at all. It's time to call BS on all the haters out there that say smart, successful women are destined to be single. It's time to invest in yourself with the only complete dating experience that has direct access to me and is put together exclusively for women like you. Meet me at secretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com for all of the details, including pricing, structure for our time together, and to schedule your application interview. See you there.